the Prophet ﷺ was known amongst the people to be as-sadiq al-amin, the most honest, the most trustworthy. That was to his character, the way he dealt with the people. He spoke the truth all the time. His muru'ah, his integrity. When he said something, he followed through. So these kind of things, you might think they're small, they're huge, because these are the making of a man. When you have these characteristics at your core, Islam embellishes them. And here's a point, foundational point, very important to understand. Sometimes people confuse them about this whole thing about practicing people and non-practicing people, and practicing people are so judgmental and they're not. No. If you were to take everything away, there's a human being. Him or her, they have some qualities that are part of their makeup. If they are good qualities, once they become practicing, these qualities are embellished and they become more and more beautiful, more fragrant. They were already beautiful before Islam. Islam embellished them and guided that effort in the right way. The other person, naturally in their core, they were already a bad person, a toxic person, bad characteristics. Jahiliyyah they had inside them. So when Islam came, it didn't improve them. What they did was, they went, وَمَا يَزِيدُ الظَّالِمِينَ إِلَّا ضَلَالًا إِلَّا تَبَارَ. Allah says about the Quran, those who are zalim already, if you're an oppressor already, Quran, Islam will not change you, it will increase you in your oppression. The man, again, who is oppressive towards his wife, when he becomes practicing, he becomes still oppressive, but now he'll use religious language. The man who is stingy with his money, before Islam, when he becomes religious, he'll become stingy with the money, but with Islamic talk. It doesn't change, the words change. Whereas the akhlaq, the Prophet said, إِنَّمَا بُعِثُّ لِأُتَمِّمَ مَكَارِمِ الْأَخْلَاقِ. I have been sent to perfect the character of the people. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He engages people first by calling them insan. Ya ayyuhan nas. Ya ayyuhal insan ma gharraka bi rabbik. O mankind, O human beings. Allah, He appeals to the human being first. When the human being can rectify himself or herself, then Islam will come and what? Embellish. Allah doesn't say, O person, okay, except, or don't call it straight away, you become practicing. La, la. It takes away the bad traits. That's what Aisha radiallahu anha mentioned. The tarbiyah of the Prophet ﷺ and the companions was 13 years. They were very few and far between in terms of what orders and prohibitions. He said, if Allah Jalla wa ala had prohibited alcohol in the beginning of Mecca, no one would have left drinking alcohol. But because by Medina, in that time Allah had cultivated a generation through wa'ad and wa'id, through threats and promises, stories, through ibadah, through worship, through sacrifice. So when the commands came, they could follow it then and there. Is the difference here. Okay? So this is again, honesty and integrity, having honesty and integrity. Another thing is integrity of messaging. A leader is someone who doesn't compromise. He doesn't, or she doesn't compromise. Someone, again, this is another very important point. Someone can have all these great qualities, but once they're put into position, they'll compromise very easily. For example, I'll give you a very low-level example. A man, in his principles, he says he can't shake the hand of a woman. But straight away, as soon as he or she is put in that position, they break straight away. Sometimes it's very easy to be in a bubble. Within your bubble, it's very easy to control the variables because you're in charge. But as soon as you leave, you see what you were actually made of. Right? So it's very important in the beginning, you are not only in the comfort spaces, but you're also engaging with the people holding on to your morals. The Prophet ﷺ, it's famous hadith, when he was calling to Allah, calling to Tawheed, it was going against the way of the Quraysh. Their business, their livelihood was on the line, because now they know a new religion. If people follow this new Allah, our business of idols is going down the drain and will become bankrupt. So they found that a threat to their way of living, their way of life. So they came to him with a proposition because they thought his motivation was what? Was dunya. They can't see anything beyond dunya. So they said, Ya Rasulullah, or Ya Mohammed, we will make you the wealthiest man of Mecca. We'll marry you the most beautiful women of Mecca, of this whole area. Whatever you want, we'll give it to you. And you know the famous hadith? He says, have you finished? He said, if they put the mamoon in the right hand, and it continues, I will never let go or leave this way of calling to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala even for a second. Abdullah bin Hudhafah, my most favorite story. This is the Prophet ﷺ, and these are his fruits, his companions. The Roman emperor, he captured one of them. This is Abdullah bin Hudhafah. He heard that in his cell there is a companion. For them, companions were these heroes that we hear about. Because they hear about Badr and Uhud and how are these 300 guys killing? It's incredible. He goes, I have a Sahaba, bring him. I have a companion, Muhammad, bring him. I'm going to break him, see what he's made of. Who said of Abdullah bin Hudhafah's story? Who said of one? Anyone else? Okay. Abdullah bin Hudhafah is brought forth. Right? He says, are you a companion of Muhammad? He says, yes, I am. He said, I want you to leave the religion of Muhammad. He said, no. Okay. He promises him, I'll give you all the wealth in the world. He said, no. I'll marry you to the most beautiful woman in the world. He said, no. So these promises didn't work. Now let's try the threats. They bring him to a wall, they crucify him to the wall, and they get the best marksman, and they begin to fire by his extremities. He doesn't flinch. They start to puncture him. He doesn't flinch. He doesn't want to kill him, he wants to break him. Takes him off. They do so many things, one by one, nothing happens. Finally, they bring a pot of oil, burning oil, hot oil. And they begin to drag Abdullah bin Hudhafah to put him in the oil, and it's his end. As soon as he touches the oil, he's going to be finished, become bones. And now he's saying, okay, let me see. He brings him, as soon as he's bringing forward, Abdullah bin Hudhafah begins to drag his legs a little bit. And he begins to hesitate, and he begins to resist. Then the king goes, okay, I've broken him. He brings him forth. Are you ready now to submit? He said, what are you talking about? Because we just saw you. You didn't want to go. He goes, oh, you thought I was scared. I realized I am about to meet my end. And I wished I had the number of souls as I have hairs on my body. So I gave them all for the sake of Allah. This man, this king, what is this people? So Allah, give me something. He goes, what do you want? Kiss my forehead at least. Give me something. I said, La. I will only do so if you free every single believer in this complex. So he frees all of them. And this is, by the way, a narration mentioned during the Khilafah of Umar radiallahu anh, and they're narrating and recounting their stories of struggle of when they were coming up. So Umar radiallahu anh, he commands everyone to go back and go around and kiss the forehead of Abdullah bin Hudhafah. These are the people of integrity, of principles. They didn't waver. لا يخافون في الله لومة لائم. They didn't fear Allah, the blame of the blamers. How does it apply to me and you? There will be a position, maybe there already is, in your life where you have to pick your principles over dunya. Maybe it's a career choice. Something you will be placed. Sometimes it's small, sometimes it's big. Sometimes at home, maybe you're in a position where, maybe for a sister, you have parda, you have a hijab, but your parents force you to be in a gathering where you're not comfortable with. There's ways of navigating. It doesn't mean you become very strict. Like I know a story, someone took it very, very literally. He says his parents would watch TV, didn't like it, music, and he broke the TV that his dad bought. So then his dad, mashallah, old school, got his belt out, started whipping him. You know what he said? Ahadun ahad, ahadun ahad. Right? There's ways of doing things, other ways of doing things, right? So you got to be wise, but you got to have principles. Right? This is his dad's TV, he doesn't, he's miskeen, right? So there's ways of doing things. Doesn't mean you create problems, but you have to have people of principle. The Prophet ﷺ, he had integrity.